Your parents came together, created life, and either you'd be lucky or you don't. What's good, good people? And welcome to It's Just Not Up. So I made a video a couple of videos ago, and it was about you guys dropping comments that you guys wanted to talk about. And so this one was kind of interesting because I was also going through my Pride mini-series where you guys met Andre. And when you met him, you guys weren't really listening to him. And so in this comment, the comment says, I'm curious to know your experience with pretty privilege, which is a trending buzzword. As someone who many consider part of the club due to classically handsome features, I feel the obvious pros about equal the cons. Jealousy, hard to make genuine friendships, aggressive touching, objectification, etc.
Probably all of that.
Okay.
In terms of dating being one of them.
Yeah.
It's been really difficult dating. I guess with the whole pretty privilege thing. I've heard about it. I've never, I guess it's a new term, but it's something, like I said, it's kind of always been around, and I've experienced a lot of different things just based off of the way I look. You know, like people thinking that I'm arrogant and cocky, or you got guys in general, or even girls too, being intimidated to come up and speak to me. You know, there's some people say I look mean. I've never known to have my resting face.
Okay.
Yeah, I think of myself as a nice person, but all my life I've always been perceived as this asshole in a way.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Yeah. You said it now. So did you ever find yourself like downplaying the way you look or being uncomfortable with the way that you look because of that?
Absolutely. There were times, a time in my life where I did used to kind of, damper down and, not dress as, fabulous as I, wanted to.
It's time to wake them up.
Even when I first started college, like guys were like, you need to tone it down and this, that, and the other. I think it came from their own places of insecurity. Was when someone comes in and they're confident, and they, love who they are. And I was taught to love who I was. So, coming into situations like that, some people, don't, and then they try to pull you down to a space where they are to make themselves feel more comfortable.
For sure.
And I almost allowed it. I did allow it to run its course when I first got in college, and then I got tired of it really fast and just started expressing myself and doing what I wanted to do.
So how do you know when it's, do you feel like you know when it's pretty privileged? Do you know when someone is like looking at you simply for your looks? Do you know when you're getting a privilege because of your looks? Like, do you know when it's based on that? Or do you kind of just like, I don't know what's going on here? Did you have to figure it out? Or like, what are those moments in which you knew? Like, when do you know, okay, this person is fixated on the way that I look, or I got this opportunity because of the way that I look, or this is a perk? Like, when did you know?
Gotcha. Probably I experience it the most probably when I'm going to the club. And I can get in free, walk past the line.
Okay.
And, know the promoters. They want you in their sections. They're very picky about stuff like that.
Right.
So it has its perks, but it also has its cons too. It's not always the best thing. It's hard dating, especially even in a city like Atlanta. People don't take you seriously. A lot of times they think, oh, he's pretty. You probably don't know anything, or they think you don't have a brain.
Yeah.
And they become so fixated on the way you look that you almost become like a trophy piece in a way, or a magnet to people with ego issues. And so they feel like, oh, if I can get him, based off the way that he looks, then I'm somebody. And for a long time, I attracted a lot of guys like that, when I had to try to start weeding it out to actually see who's asking the questions to really get to know me genuinely, or are you really just, into the way I look and that's it,
So has dating been the most complicated? Like, is it friendship? Is it family? Is it just passerbyers? What is the most?
Dating has been complicated, but in terms of friendships, it's also been hard to make friends too. I'm a very reserved person and very kind of like closed off in a way, and I think that's mainly because I've tried to make friends with people, and it comes across they were them wanting more than just a friendship.
Okay.
They want to over sexualize you, and then the unexpected touching, or flirting that makes things awkward. So it's like, okay, I thought we were cool and like that. You like pushing up like.
I have this theory. So I think when it comes to gay relationships, especially, I think because we're both men, it's sometimes difficult to know whether or not you guys should just be friends or if you guys should explore, right? Because like if we were straight and I say I'm a straight man and I have a guy friend, and he's cool, he's attractive, but I don't like guys, so it's all good. But because we're gay, it's like, you're cool, you're attractive. It's like, should we explore? You know what I mean? It's always that, like, when I was younger, I went through that a bit. I was like, well, like, if somebody's attractive and they're good people, how do I know that we should be just friends versus whatever? And I think likewise, when you're good looking and you have other things to offer, right? Like, if you're not just resting on the way that you look, but you also, like, you know, are, you know, whatever, like inspiring or whatever the things you are, people will then feel like, you know what I'm saying? And it's tough to like let him live. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've gone through a situation like that where I had a really close friend of mine, and he's super attractive, you know, and I was somewhat attracted to him too. But we just never kind of crossed that line. Like, I would always look at him like, okay, you know what? The friendship here is more important. I know it'll be hard for me to find another person I can talk to like this or connect to in certain ways. He's always been there for me. So, you know, let's not cross that line. Because at the end of the day, you have to weigh your pros and your cons. If in the event that we got together, would he be someone I could actually be with? You know, and that all of what I know? Probably not, but I was looking at it from, of course, the attraction perspective, opposed to, you know, all that he generally offered toward the friendship, and, you know, what he would probably be like dating.
I think it's a big thing. I think sometimes because we are fixated on the way people look in this country and as a whole, and sometimes it's difficult to like separate the two. You just be lost in like.
That's a black king right there.
Have you ever like been like, I know that I can use the way that I look to get in this place or do this thing or whatever? And what was it like to stop doing that if you did?
You know what? I can say I probably have used it to my advantage maybe once or twice, probably in my younger years. You know, like I said, trying to get into clubs and stuff like that, you know, skipping the line, not feeling like I had to wait. Right. But then at some point, like, you just kind of, stuff like that kind of gets old, you know, especially as you get older. You don't even look at it as being that important anymore. But and then you also become amazed and surprised at how many people, you know, pay so much attention to it. So it makes you feel kind of bad about it.
Oh, Carissa, please.
I feel like it's always that like either or when it comes to people who are aesthetically pleasing or maybe a little bit have it in excess, right? It's like, do you start to downplay or like suppress the way that you look? Because even for me, like, I'm not saying I'm the most gorgeous person in the world, but I do enjoy the way that I look. I think I'm attractive, whatever. But I think I'm attractive, and I think, but for a minute, it does. Sometimes people make you feel like you have to like
downplay yourself,
downplay it to be heard. Because with me, I'm so much more than the way that I look, right? And even now, like, a lot of people are giving the way that I think a chance. But I remember I told this story on TikTok. But I grew up, and when I was growing up, teachers always said, he's gonna be a model, he's gonna be an actor. And I'm like, who said I wanted to do that? You know what I mean? But like all the other kids was like, he's gonna be our next lawyer, she's gonna be a doctor, and it's like, oh, there's gonna be a model. And I'm like, who said I wanted to be a model? Like, why can't I be a doctor? Why can't I be? But no one ever gave me any like I'm like, wait, God, you know. And even now it's like, I never knew that you. And I get it to a certain degree, but I sometimes feel like people who like, again, maybe aesthetically pleasing, find themselves having to fight to like, and again, I don't make this sound like it's super dramatic, but having to like really prove themselves otherwise, unless they wear baggy clothes and sneak into rooms, which is difficult.
Right, to prove that you have qualities just like any other human, like any other human being. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't see us as, I would say, like, human beings in a way, and it's kind of crazy.
Don't say us. We're in two different categories. But
Well, shut up, boy.
But
Do you want to fight me?
So when you think about like getting older, right, and like what comes with age, you may not always look like this when you get older. Do you think it'll be like, or do you think like you like do you like, will it be scary? Will you like, I'm losing the thing that I once had? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, don't go. Like, is it that, or is it like, I just like the way that I look, it's an additive, cool? Or do you think you put like, is there like an excess put onto it?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm afraid to age.
Okay.
And that is only because, you know, I'm also afraid of death. So it's not just that. You know, I feel like aging is linked to, you know, preparing yourself for shorter and shorter, you know, terms. You know, so, but in terms of the looks part, I think I think it's okay to want to keep your youth. I think everybody probably to some extent wants to keep their youth, you know, not just for the looks part, but, you know, for the health part too, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't want to see myself get old. You know, when the wrinkles start coming, you see them, you know, you be like, oh shit, wait a minute, this wasn't here last year. I look at pictures like,
that's y'all.
That wasn't there.
I want to look, I always say this, I know it sounds weird, but I want to look old when I'm old. Like, I do. I like somebody who looks their age. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, look your age. When I'm 40, I want to look 40. I don't want to look 25. I want to look 40. I want to look good for 40, I guess, but I want to look 40. When I'm 50, I want to look 50. All I have is my hair. As long as if I can keep my hair.
We on a totally different page with that.
Who and who?
When I turn 40, I want to look 30. When I turn 50, I want to look 40. I want 10 years behind on every year. Every year.
No. So let's add some advice to the conversation. So if you have a conversation with somebody who may be struggling with the way that they look, right? People may make them feel bad for it or what have you. Like, what advice would you give to somebody? Like, what would you say?
Advice for someone who's struggling with the way that they look. I would definitely say first you have to fall in love with yourself. You know, regardless of what you see in that very moment, you have to love that person in order to be able to elevate yourself in any way possible.
Thanks.
Don't beat yourself up for who you are. You are who you are. Like I said, the best thing you can do is fall in love with who you are. You have more qualities to yourself than just appearance.
I hope so.
Do you think it's more difficult for people to like get to what it means to have self-love when they experience pretty privilege? And hear me. So I always think about like when we build ourselves with applause, sometimes it's very difficult for you to understand like truly who you actually are because you've always been applauded for it, right? So it's like if someone's always called you attractive, you didn't really have to like get in the mirror and figure out if you thought you were attractive intrinsically because people always called you it. So you kind of felt like, you know, I'm attractive, I have to be. Everybody keeps saying that I must be attractive. Whereas somebody who may not get complimented as often has had to really dig deep and say like, I love the skin that I'm in, regardless of who says it, who says or doesn't say it. And so like, did you feel like there was like a intentional journey to really like fall in love with yourself outside of the applause of people?
On the look side, I'll be honest, no, because
and you were good looking your whole life.
Yeah.
We're gonna put some baby pictures up here. Like, send me some pictures later on. I'm gonna put some pictures. We're gonna do like a little timeline of like him. Okay.
Well, the way I was brought up, you know, on my, you know, my mom's side of the family, both sides of my family are very good looking people.
Period.
From my mom's side, she definitely, you know, made me understand, you know, that, you know, I looked a particular type of way, that I looked, you know, very nice. And she always instilled, you know, pushed me to have self-love and, you know, don't let anybody take that away from me.
Yeah.
But I think it's because of the things that she had experienced growing up, you know, being bullied and, you know, people tried to push her down about the way she looked, you know, to make themselves feel more comfortable. And I think she knew that that probably would happen to me and my sisters as well. And say, you know what? Don't ever let anybody take anything from you. You look at yourself in the mirror, you are beautiful. Accept that. That is okay. Don't let anybody take that away from you. And I think my grandparents did the same thing. They said the same exact things all the time, you know, and that looks was a big thing for them. But then at the same time, they always saw a lot of backlash, you know, a lot of pushback. Yeah. And, you know, they always said those days would come. And so when it did come, it didn't really faze me too much, you know. And there was some, like I said, there was some small, you know, I knew times where I did kind of, you know, dim my light a little bit to make people comfortable and, you know, not be as expressive. I sometimes even still do that to this day, you know, like even with like social media. You know, sometimes I just don't post, you know, when I love fashion, I love clothes, but I'm not in the camera like, you know, that also stays in the back of my head, you know, like, you know, sometimes it may make people feel like, okay, well, maybe he's doing too much, or, you know what I'm saying, but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it's someone that's not as attractive, and it's like, yeah, I love it, friend. The very second you show off a little bit, it's like, oh, look at him. He just think he all of that, you know, I'm like, and I don't think that's fair. But it's just crazy. It's the world we live in.
So all in all, for me at least, I think my biggest advice is to like learn to love yourself fully. You know what I mean? I think whether you experience pretty privilege or you don't, I think it's about like truly getting into who you actually are, right? Because a lot of what privileges are unearned advantage. Well, I guess exactly what privilege is an unearned advantage. And I think it gives people this idea that like you've done something for this. And I think for me growing up, my parents always made me very aware that like, you didn't do anything to look the way you look. You get either lucky or I guess conventionally unlucky in the looks lottery. Your parents came together, created life, and either you be lucky or you don't. Like we didn't do anything. We didn't like work really hard. Like that's how looks work. Looks either you get certain features or you don't. I think for a lot of us to put less emphasis on the way that we look and more emphasis on how we treat people.
Who is having that conversation?
Cute is what gets you to the party for sure, right? Like he's cute, so you want to talk to him. But then after a while, it's like,
that is not enough.
This person, right? It's not gonna. It's never gonna be enough to like fulfill what it means to be in relationship, platonically, romantically, all the things. So again, fall in love with you, whether you look like whoever you are idolizing or not even idolizing whoever you think is attractive or not. Fall in love with you, and I think you're cute. I will see you.
Somebody's gonna think you're cute.
I know that's right. And listen, the person who does. Period. Anyways, I will see you guys on the next episode. Keep creating space. Peace.
Peace.